Welcome to the InterCellar POD with William and Annie, where we get below the surface and help you build a foundation of hope, one conversation at a time. Forgot what button it is. Thank you. Thank you. I don't think they can hear you because... Oh, okay. All right. So, my lovely wife is finishing her steak over here. So we just recorded a wonderful 1-hour podcast, only to find out afterwards that my mic was not on, and instead it was picking up the audio from the computer, and the laundry was running, and anyway, it was just a whole thing. But baby is still sleeping somehow, so we're back again, round 2, and just like with the baby and his ever-changing schedule, we will roll with the ebb and flow of technology.
These are really good.
I don't think they can hear you. Get it?
These are really good.
Yes. Coconut water. Oh no. I lost my page.
This is fun.
It's okay. I don't need it until later.
We were so poised on that last episode that we just filmed. This episode, nah. The poise went out the window. No.
Yeah. Welcome to like the behind the show, which also is like our first official episode. So I'm not sure where this is going. So buckle up. Buckle up, Buttercup. I don't know where we're going.
We're just.
You have a plant in your hair.
It's been in my hair this whole time.
Okay.
So electrolytes are really important for breastfeeding mothers. We ran out of our liquid IV, which we were drinking. And so I'm drinking coconut water, the ancient electrolytes.
Yes.
I don't like how it tastes, but I like what it does for my body.
So good. So good. I just feel like I'm a survival person on an island.
I have to picture myself on an island with a perfectly fit tanned body in a wonderful bathing suit. And then I can...
What is happening?
And then I can enjoy.
So for those that aren't joining us on the video, there's things happening over here.
I spilled my coconut water.
The soothing sound of our voices, helping out with whatever's.
You should definitely, though, if you're not watching the video currently, you're missing out because that's where all of the chaos is happening.
Yes. So welcome to episode 1. I guess this is sort of an unscheduled podcast, so to speak.
This is a rogue episode.
This is a rogue episode.
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of that, actually. Because this is kind of, in a lot of ways, a rogue series. So,
Yep.
my lovely
Is my mic? I almost said it's my wife. Is my mic in a good position?
Yeah, should be. So last episode, they were just turned a little bit too close to each other, so we're getting a little bit of reverb. So hopefully you guys are getting less reverb this time. And also,
Lord help
we got
us if you're
our
not.
T3i Canon that I've figured out that you can use Canon software to hook up and use your Canon as like a webcam. So because I'm using OBS to run all of this, so hitting you with some better quality.
OBS is basically where you put audio, video, and everything all in one program so that you can be like the sound guy, the editor, and the main character all at once.
Yeah. So basically, it is our temporary lower-ish budget software setup for the moment, but it works
until we have a full-fledged team.
Yes,
and a camera guy and everything.
Yes,
this is what we gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Did we decide what we were going to talk about?
No, we did not. No, we did not. So, yeah, I guess
we've been through a lot the last 2 months.
Yep.
A lot of life
She was
change.
very pregnant in the last, I guess technically it was like the trailer episode or the pilot episode.
Trailer, yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
So
I was very pregnant, and now I'm not.
yeah.
And now we have a brand new little baby who is filled with energy and vitality and sass and all the things I could have wanted in a baby. And he is doing amazing. And he is chunky. He was 9 pounds and 22 inches. And he is now over 10 pounds, probably 11 pounds at this point. And wait, he's almost 11 pounds last time we checked. So he's probably over 11 pounds, if not 12 pounds at this point with how much he nurses. So he's doing amazing. And we are so grateful. And his name is Zadok Judah, not Zadok. Not Zadok. Nope. It's Zadok Judah. And we should tell them what the name means.
So, from what I understand, there's technically 2 different Zadoks in the Bible.
I think there is 2. I was kind of
2.
Yeah, I think there's 2.
The one that we initially kind of like hit us as like, oh, this seems kind of neat with like the name and everything.
Yeah.
Was the one that's like he was like a mighty man of valor. And we're like, that's pretty cool. Like, like that seems like a strong name. But then we also found out that the other Zadok, he was like the priest that left Saul and went with David and then eventually anoints Solomon.
Oh, does he?
He also...
Zadok's the one that anoints Solomon?
I'm pretty sure. And then also Zadok comes from, like, it kind of comes out of, like, Melchizedek. So, like, Melchizedek, the priest and king, like, there's Melchizedek. So, like, that's like, apparently where the name kind of comes out of. And apparently the Zadok priest line was, like, one of the sections from Levi that worked in the Holy of Holies or something like that.
Yeah, they were the only ones that were allowed to go in the Holy of Holies.
Think.
Yeah, is what
Which
I
I'm
read.
like a little... I'll have to look into that some more, too, because I think there's more to it than that, but...
I have it on my phone.
Well, I know, but, like, there's, like, later on, there's that whole thing where, what about, what's his name, who goes in... oh, wait, no, that's not... He was just burning incense. Never mind. So maybe it is the only ones that went into the Holy of Holies.
I think so, yeah.
Could be.
I'm not finding it. But it was on here.
Yeah,
it's okay. But yes. Yeah. And then Judah is after the line of the tribe of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was... That's not how it works. When we were having the baby shower, I kept getting gifts of clothes for him that had lions on them, and I just like something in my spirit just kind of was like, what's up with this? Like, because I'm always like looking for ways that God's speaking to me, and I was like, Holy Spirit, like, does this mean something, all these lions? Because we still hadn't decided on a middle name. We were like,
took us a while to figure out the middle name.
Oh yeah. And I felt like he spoke to me and said, he's gonna be your little lion. And I was like, okay.
He's definitely a little
And
lion.
immediately I thought line of the tribe of Judah. And I was like, Judah. Ah. And then we talked about it and we felt like it was pretty much perfect. So he has a very meaningful, very intentional name. And I believe that he is going to be a leader in a lot of ways. And that God is going to use him to say a lot of bold, mighty, and valiant things that need to be said in his generation. And I also think, and I might be crazy or a conspiracy theorist, but I think a lot of women are giving birth to boys right now. It's very interesting to me. It seems like the majority of pregnancies I hear about are boys. And so I just think that God is raising up a generation of men who are going to be very powerful and filled with truth and strong. And I think wherever the world is going is going to need these little men.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just up to us parents to be faithful to listen to God and grow them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, or whatever that verse is. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Which, speaking of Judah, I just want to say that I was reading recently. So I have this chronological Bible, super interesting. So like as it's going through, you get cool things like you'll be reading in Samuel about David, and then suddenly it'll just be like, oh, and here's the psalm that he wrote while he was in the cave, and it's like, oh, like instead of it being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read that like multiple books later. Super cool. And I mean, I know there's different thoughts on how to perfectly put things chronologically. Regardless, like reading through it, like any of the different versions or that I've read through in some kind of chronological way, it's really interesting. And so right now I'm in the area with like Kings and Chronicles, and it's kind of putting that all together in a timeline with the prophets and everything. And it's like super interesting. And I know that like after Solomon, like you have the split of the kingdoms, you have all this stuff going on, and like I feel like everything during that time period gets a bad rap. And I was kind of taken back a little bit by like realizing that actually like the tribe of Judah, who stayed faithful to sort of the kingship established by God, like they honestly received like a lot of blessings. And they still, I mean, you can even look at the succession of kings, and like it's like for every one king that they change, like the rest of the Israelites have changed like 5 different kings,
because
like
the kingdom
assassinations
split.
and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was interesting. I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Like they made mistakes and stuff, and some of the kings were not good, but they
the tribe of Judah seemed to be faithful.
Seems like the tribe of Judah still they made some good choices. And I just think that was neat. I noticed that and I was like, wow. So anyway, that's all I was gonna say about that.
Should we give them the short and condensed version of?
So we're gonna give you guys. So we just recorded like an hour-long recording, kind of talked through a lot of different things. We weren't expecting the baby to sleep this long.
Yeah.
And then he just kept sleeping.
And then when we ended the video, went back to listen to it, realized it was trashy audio, and ran up and got water and snacks. Came back down, and we're back at you.
Yeah.
Not really, because they didn't get to see the first one, but that's okay.
It's all right.
That's okay.
Rolling with things.
Yeah,
rolling with things.
We have been very, very blessed by people in our lives recently, and community, and that's something we talked about on the failed episode. It wasn't failed.
Let's kind of go backwards this time, though.
Okay.
So let's start with kind of what's happening like right now. We'll kind of work back in the
That's
story,
a good idea.
I think.
That's a good idea.
So right now, we're kind of in this place where like the baby's, it's his sleep schedule has been changing
during the day,
back and forth. Like it's like each week it kind of changes a little bit, and it just feels like our whole world's kind of upended in a lot of ways, we just having to learn to roll with things, learn to roll with the new, and just listening to Holy Spirit, listening as God leads us in our new parenting lives. And we're in a really good place now, and we'll talk to you guys a little bit about some of the darker, harder times, because not because like everything was terrible, but just because like when you have a child, like especially your first,
life changes.
Like
and
if
it's never gonna be the same.
you have a baby on the way and it's your first, like just know life will change. Like we even knew that to some extent before it happened, but like it's just you will not be the same person.
You'll be better.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you let God teach you and grow you through it and stretch you, but you will be stretched.
The biggest thing that right now is rolling with things, especially for me. William's better at this than me, but I spent the last like 2 or 3 weeks fighting and so frustrated that probably 2 weeks that our baby would not take long naps during the day. I just knew like all these people on social media, all these moms I was seeing, just like perfectly like taking long naps, and oh my goodness, he woke up and then he nursed, and oh my goodness, they're already going back to sleep, and they just sleep all the time. And our baby did not do that.
No, we did not.
And there was actually a week there where he was really fussy, and still not quite sure why, but he was just fussy.
It was like almost colic or whatever, but not
quite.
Yeah,
he just cried a lot, and it was like couldn't figure out why, and I started wondering if it was my milk supply, if it was like not satiating him, or like what was going on, and like, do we need to try formula? Is he gassy? Like, ugh. First time parents, and even parents just in general, like when you have a newborn, it's just constantly a guessing game, trying to figure out what's going on with them, because they can't talk, and they don't. The only thing they know how to do to communicate with you is cry. And so they could be crying just because they're tired. And that's very simple. Put them to sleep. Sometimes that's not simple. But it's very, like, it's not serious condition, Or they could be crying because their stomach is hurting really, really bad. And how are you supposed to know what the difference is? So, anyway, that's really hard. But yeah, fighting and frustrated, trying to get him to sleep. I would lay him down, and he would just wake up like sometimes 5 minutes later. And I was like, I would put him down, put the monitor on, go out, lay down, and like almost have an anxiety attack, because it was like he might only sleep for 5 minutes, or he might sleep for 3 hours, and I have no clue. What am I supposed to do first? And I would just like walk in circles around the house. Like, do I eat? Do I pee? Do I like drink? Do I sleep? Do I clean? I don't know. What do I do? And I would just be like, oh my goodness. And then he would cry. And then I would just have like a breakdown, because it was just like, he's awake again. And I don't know what to do with myself. And so learning, I felt like when you told me, hey, I think social media is influencing you more than you realize, because our baby just might not be like the influencer's baby who sleeps perfectly all the time in her aesthetic clothes and carrier, and like, it might not be that way. And then I really felt like the Holy Spirit told me, stop trying to make your baby be someone that he's not. And I was like, oh. So I hope that I've learned that lesson early on, not to try to make your kids be something that they're not, and God created them unique. And you might need to broaden your horizons a little bit and let your kids be who God created them to be.
I feel like I'm like very excited to, especially even like in the last week, or like starting to see his personality.
Yeah, he's starting to get a
emerge
personality
and different things, and we're just
goodness.
But it's really exciting. It's really exciting. And kind of hopping back to what you're talking about a little bit with just like all of the new and everything.
Well, I'll just finish it really quick.
Go for it.
All I was going to say is that since I've let that go and just roll with whatever he's feeling at the moment. Okay, he doesn't want to sleep. It's okay. We'll just entertain you. We'll go on walks. We'll do crazy things with our mouths, like William does. We'll make weird noises. We'll dance around, like whatever it takes. We'll just entertain you. Like if you want to sleep, we'll put you to sleep. Whatever is going on, we're just going to roll with it. And we're not going to freak out, and we're not going to try to have a tight schedule. We threw the schedule out the window. We have no schedule in this house. And wow, it has been a lot more peaceful.
Yeah.
A lot more peaceful. I mean,
Noticeably.
I feel more peaceful. And I feel like the house just feels more peaceful, because like if he wakes up, I'm not going to freak out anymore. It's okay. Did I freak out the other day a little bit? I think I did a little bit.
Maybe.
But I was just it was more just other things, and then he wasn't sleeping, and then, But I feel like for the most part, I've really changed to just be like, it's fine. It's okay. If it takes 2 hours to put him to sleep at night, it's okay. It's time well spent.
I think that also, like, not just the rolling with it, but in conjunction with that is also that we are both finding our new identity, so to speak, a little, like we're kind of getting a little more established in that as well. At least that's how personally I feel. Like some of my earlier struggles were more just that, like, it's just like, wow, the dad life, like, it's just suddenly, it's just so different all of a sudden. And
I feel like we both kind of just went into
responsibilities, and my wife has different needs and different, like, and there was just a lot. And I think that as we've both kind of strengthened, and we talked about this before, but like, she would go through a darker time, and I would be speaking truth to her and praying over her, and then maybe I would go through a harder time, because we're both just going through that change, because your life is kind of upside down and it's just so new. And but as we're working through these things together, strengthening, we're figuring out who we are as parents now. Like, we're not just besties. Like we are still besties, but you have to, like, we kind of went from just like besties where it's just us to suddenly we have like, this human in our life that takes not just one of our full attention, but both of our full attention. Like,
and sometimes we could use a third person, honestly.
Yeah, and it's a lot. And I feel like as we've kind of worked through that, like, we then also are kind of getting back to the place where we're besties again, like where but we've like, it's a new normal, like
type of besties,
a new kind of, I don't know, just the parent life, I guess.
Yeah.
But and also like something that I've learned personally a lot through this, and that's if I was gonna say or give a tip to a new parent going into everything, like with all this, obviously I'd say, fight together, work together, seek God, but also like let God teach you through it, because I know that I've learned a lot, just even holding Zadok, like, and even when he's fussy and stuff, and realizing like, wow, this is kind of like a picture of me when I'm not trusting God, and when like fussy and irritated and stuff at God, like and don't feel secure, or like whatever it is. Because when I'm holding Zadok and I'm just like holding him there and I'm thinking, you're fine, buddy. Like you don't need to worry about a thing. Like we've got you. Just like, just relax, just rest, and kind of shushing him and trying to kind of like, calm him. And just that fact that like, that's what our Father is trying to tell us too. It's what he's telling us in his word. That's what he tells us in your personal walk, like there. And he's being like, hey, I'm your Father. I'm your shepherd. Like, you don't need to worry. You don't need to be afraid. And, and I've found myself sort of shushing myself, like, because it's becoming such a habit to kind of be like, when I'm holding him, I'm like, shh, like, and I'll be like trying to calm him down. And so sometimes when suddenly I feel kind of anxious, I'll feel myself like almost automatically shushing myself. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, where's that coming from? And it's because I'm like a dad. And so I'm like learning to calm my child and to pray over him, and like to tell him like, no, you're like, you don't need to be, because he'll start feeling a little insecure. He'll start feeling like whatever it is, feel all the emotions and all the things. And I'll start realizing like, wow, like that is what God is saying to me too.
Yeah.
And that's been really good, because I mean, like, not just in a, like, our world turned upside down with birth and everything, but like babies are expensive, and there's expenses, and there's things, and there's work, and there's just a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
And I feel like through all of that, God has been using our boy to, I know, strengthen my faith in him. And like there's a lot going on here, but like, I'm with you, I'm for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. It's been pretty amazing, like, watching you step into fatherhood. I think you've done it really well. And like, I think you've done it so well because you didn't come from a selfish place. Like, you were already pouring your life out for other people. And so it wasn't really new to you to pour it out for your son too. And me. And as we like learned how to be a little family, still are very much learning. But
I didn't have a lot of experience with babies though.
No, and neither have I. Like, honestly, I don't think I've had held a newborn for years. When I held, wait, that's not true, because I just remembered a friend's baby that I held.
But still,
but like I hadn't been around a newborn for an extended period of time since my little sister was born. I don't think, she's 10. So, having a tiny baby was like very new to me, and yeah, knowing how to take care of them and stuff. Like, obviously, God gives you motherly instincts, and he has definitely given me them. But, and my mom, thank goodness, and your mom, and like different moms giving me all kinds of help and advice and stuff. But yeah, very new world. And
even if you've had a lot of baby experience, there is nothing like when you're holding them and you look at them and it's like it's you looking back.
I know.
Like there's like their eyes, their features, there's just so much about them that reminds you of you that it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's an unreal feeling where it's just like, okay, like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When he came out, he looked exactly like me when I was a baby. And it was pretty freaky. Pretty freaky. And now he looks more like you. He's kind of changing.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's saying he's starting to look more like William, so. But, yeah, honestly, we are in the best place that we've been in since having the baby currently. And, like, there's a stereotype where when you have a baby, your marriage falls apart and you start fighting and it's not good. And are you making sure okay. And honestly, like and it's just because of God, but like we just feel like the most in love and the most like get butterflies when I see him walking in from work, like place that I feel more in love with you now than I did on our wedding day. And like it's because our love is maturing and growing, and like yeah, I feel like we're more passionate about each other now than we even were back when we were like new giggly little newlyweds.
There is nothing like seeing your wife become a mom. Like it is the most just amazing thing. Like it's almost like there's just, because it's what God designed you to be, and so it's almost like you're just like stepping into this role, and I don't know, it's just so beautiful. And I feel like, and I feel like, you know, and sometimes people say like, oh, your scars are beautiful or da da da, and sometimes it can almost sound a little like,
Cliche.
you're like, you were supposed to say that, you know, or whatever.
How was that face again?
I think that maybe an even better way to put it is that like your scars, like when I see them, I think like that's like it's almost like a small picture, or like almost like leftover ripples in the water, so to speak, of like what just happened and how like what you stepped through, and how you're like stepping into like being a mom and the sacrifice that you went through, and so there's just something almost like, you know, it's not like kind of like a giddy like, oh, you know, your scars are so like, you know, like sexy or something, like I don't know, like it's not like it's more like regal and like beautiful, and like it's this deep like wonder and like whoa, like, you know, and I think even more so because I was there, like I was there when you went through all that, and I know what you went through, you know. And yeah,
thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a whole deal accepting your newly postpartum body. Women and moms, you know what I'm talking about probably, but your body's just not the same anymore, and it probably never will be. And your hips are wider than they were before, and you have squish where you didn't have squish before. And like sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't even know who that is, but okay, here we are. And your clothes don't fit right anymore, and everything just kind of feels uncomfortable. And for someone who has walked through like body image issues, I would say body image issues, like distorted body image, I definitely like am at the most healthy place I've ever been currently. Like I can't even believe sometimes like how God has healed that in me, because I like sometimes I'll remember old thought patterns and stuff about my body, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I was just not okay. And yeah, wow.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think I am the most confident. It's so weird because if my pre-pregnant self could see my body now, they'd be like, oh my. But I feel like I'm the most confident now in my body than I've ever been. And I don't even know why, really. I don't know if it's just because it's like, I birthed a baby, okay? Like,
Yeah.
I am so proud of my body. Like, I don't even, like, I have no,
10-pound baby. Or
9-pound baby.
Basically 10. So,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, and not just that I birthed him, but that I grew him in my body and carried him for 9 months. And like, my goodness, if I never have a flat stomach again, oh well. Like, I grew a baby and I birthed him. So, and I want to grow some more. So, anyway, we're going to have a small tribe. That's what we say. But, yeah. So,
It's going to change you. Prepare for change.
yeah, it's going to change you. And
Dads, listen up. I picked pacifier off the ground, licked it, and put it back in my baby's mouth. I don't even know who I am anymore. The sight and thought of baby spit, like, used to be like that was the end. That was just no. Like, I couldn't even go there mentally before. I don't even know who I am anymore. I just didn't even think about it. I was just like, it needs to happen. Lick that sucker, put it right in.
He did say the other day when he was making a sandwich that he would never be able to see mustard the same, though.
Yeah. But, gonna eat it anyway.
And the funny fact is, every time he changes the baby likes to give him a little shower of thanks.
It's happened like at least 2 times, maybe 3 times now.
At least it's not,
everything's fine,
at least
everything's
it's
good.
not poop, honey. It was never poop, was it? Did poop happen to you, or has it just been pee every time?
I think it's mainly just been pee. Yeah.
It's just a little shower of blessings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I recently was in a plane ride with my brother, and that's another story we'll get to in a minute. But I was going to a wedding. But my brother was like, "You've never seen Aquaman 2 or something like that?" And I was like, "No, I have not." And so we decided to watch it. And so I was just expecting like, oh, action movie or something. I wasn't expecting it to be like a dad and son movie. So I don't even know if I talked to you about this yet, but
no, I thought you guys watched the movie about the dog.
We did.
Oh.
We watched it on the way back. On the way there, we watched Aquaman, and it was Aquaman 2. I've never even seen the first one.
You didn't tell me about this.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm hearing this for the first time, so I want to hear what you're going to say.
That's weird. I thought I had told you, but I guess not. Anyway, the movie itself, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit deeper about things in general in life and movies, and so, like, it was an action movie and whatever, and I don't know. A lot of it wasn't really memorable to me, but what is that Aquaman has a son, and at, like, the very start of the movie, like, the baby he's like trying to learn to change the diaper or like whatever, and the baby keeps spraying him in the face. and then anyway, and so but then throughout, like, there's like the story and the baby's there. I don't know, there was just something, like, I was watching that and I'm like, this is supposed to be like an action movie or whatever, but I was like, I couldn't see the movie the same way anymore, because it was the dad and his son like gets taken at some point, and it was just like, I don't know. There was just something about it where I just like, I don't know. But at the same time, like, I feel like every time I go to change Zadok's diaper, I just think of Aquaman now, and I'm just like, let's He-Man like changing, but then he keeps peeing, and so I'm like, what? This is literally what happened in the movie. Only difference is that in the movie he learns to like dodge the pee.
You have not.
But then the wife apparently can like move water or something. Because, like, like Atlantis and like whatnot, and so she like makes the pee still hit him in the face.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm
That's
glad that you can't do that
funny. That's really
because
funny.
she would do that.
I would.
And she would laugh.
Yes, I would.
She would belly laugh.
And I would also let him clean it up too. That's funny.
But yeah, we watched that, and then we watched on the way back. We watched because I was like, we need to find like a, I don't know, more good, rich, wholesome something, and we found Arthur the King, the dog movie. Is based on a true story. Highly recommend. I mean, I think so. It was a good story.
I love watching movies on planes. Like, love watching movies on planes. We have an earbud splitter. And so when we travel together, which this probably won't happen anymore because baby, unless he goes to sleep. But we like to pick out movies and watch them
I feel
together.
like it's even
fun.
more special because like we don't watch a huge amount of movies regularly.
Well, we did when we were in the last month of pregnancy and I was losing my mind.
That's true, yeah.
We binged an entire series.
Series, but not really like...
How many seasons was that? It was like...
We want to talk about that?
But anyway, so I wanted to talk about something that I just thought about.
Okay.
Because last time we talked about this house and how we got here and everything. So I don't know if we mentioned this, but it was definitely in a neighborhood that we would have not picked for ourselves, probably.
Yeah, we're both country people.
Yeah, like it's smack in the middle of the city. It's like up. It's like the house from up. Like the city it kind of seems like the city was just like built in around it. Like it's been here for a long time and the city just kind of closed in on it. And so we just have this like little plot of yard and this tiny little house in the middle of the city. And yeah, the neighborhood is not great. It's a little
rougher.
It's a little rough. And when we first, and I think I said this in the last episode, but when we first got here, I was like, when we first saw the house, I was like, no way. And I told William, I am not going to be able to feel confident and be in this house by myself with the baby. And I want to be able to go on walks with him and stuff. I'm never going to feel confident doing that. I'm going to feel unsafe. Like there's probably going to be gunshots in the night and during the day. And there's like, who knows what's going to happen. And, literally God has changed my heart so much because I was just thinking about this the other day when I was out walking him in our driveway, putting him to sleep in the carrier, and I was just so comfortable out there. And like I had just gotten given vegetables and flowers from our neighbor. And I was like watching all of our other neighbors down the street and stuff coming home from work, and like these hardworking guys with their lunch boxes and their water jugs and stuff. Like they've spent the whole day working, and the kids are out on their bikes and everything. And it's like these are our people. Mm-hmm. And our neighbor man's like out working on his car for the 17,000th time, and that's just part of our life. Like when I think of our life here, I think of the people that we see every day, and it's our neighbors. And I go on a walk with Zadok pretty much every day, and in our neighborhood, and I smell weed a lot. And there's loud music with bad words that I never want my son to say or hear, for that matter. And I just pray over his little ears. And there is yelling sometimes, and there's weird smells, and like there was a dead mouse on our sidewalk just there, and there's feral cats everywhere, and like all these things. But whenever I walk him, like I look forward to our walks because I feel totally confident and at peace when I'm walking him. I feel like so fierce when I'm out there walking him. Like I don't know what comes over me, but I'm just like, this is our territory. I feel like when God puts you somewhere, he put you there to take back territory for him, especially if he puts you in a really dark place. And there's a lot of darkness around us in this neighborhood. Like one of our neighbors got handcuffed. Like didn't he get handcuffed? Like, or there was cops there like 2 times or something.
I don't know.
He got like handcuffed on his front porch, and the cops showed up at the house across the street recently, and no idea what was going on there. So there's just unique things that happen. But I walk around with Zadok and I blast my worship music, and I have met so many people. I just feel like I'm allowed to blast my worship music because they can blast the horrific trash that is music today with every other word is a swear word and hateful. I can just blast my worship music, and I would like to challenge any one of them to say, "Hey, can you turn that down?" Because they would just pull the thing off the bomb. Mama Bear unleashed.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
but anyway, so sometimes I just can't believe like that's me, and that I walk this neighborhood with my tiny
proud of you.
baby, and I don't fear a thing. And like there was a dude the other day on our walk. He was like walking on the sidewalk, like weird, like he's a little too high for where he's going. He's kind of levitating a little bit and like doing this weird, like you just know there's something not quite right there. And I just turned the stroller around, just like looked right at him and just like walked by, and earlier me like would have been like peeing her pants a little bit, but I just like didn't phase me.
Keep in mind that
Didn't phase me.
She texts me like randomly in the middle of the day and just be like, "Oh, I'm going on a walk now," and I do think that an earlier me would have been more like, I don't know, it's like, is this okay? Like, I don't know, or whatever. But I feel like I've surrendered a lot to God, and I'm just like, you know what? And here's my challenge.
We're so protected. Like when God puts you somewhere, you are so darn protected, people. Like there's just nothing to worry about. There's just nothing to worry about.
My challenge to you guys regarding this topic is that, and this is something that like recently I've been thinking about. Whenever you get like a thought that's just like a bad thought, like, oh, like what if that happens? Like a lot of times you go, oh, don't think about that because that's like a bad thing. Like, oh no, what if that person was gone? Or what if, like, oh, what if, whatever.
If that happened, yeah.
Like don't run from a bad thought. Like take captive the bad thought.
Yeah.
Like go like, okay, well, what if that happened? Like, I mean, I've had this before where I've thought like, oh, what would happen if something tragic happened and Annie was gone? And most people tell me, oh, well, don't think about that. You don't need to think about that. Well, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna meditate on it. But if the thought comes into my mind because the enemy's trying to get me to be afraid, then I'm gonna go, okay, well, what would happen in that case? Like, I would feel loss, like it would hurt, but I would turn to God and I would be like, thank you, God, Father, thank you that I had this beautiful time with my wife, and thank you. And honestly, in the end, like I feel stronger and I feel more thankful for what I have because she's not gone, she's here, and I have a beautiful son. And I think that a lot of times, like, I don't know, I mean, that's how soldiers train. They think through the situations and go like, okay, if this happens, they can't just, oh no, what if the enemy sneak attacks us? Like, oh, don't think about that. Like
that's so true.
You know what I mean? Like, oh no, like we can't think about that. That'd be terrible. No, it's like, okay, well, what would we do if they sneak attack? We're gonna do this. This is how we're gonna face the enemy.
Yeah.
And I mean, definitely in the last, I mean, ever since we even started dating, like there's been spiritual warfare, but especially like as we become family, as we become parents, like
my goodness,
there's battle.
Yeah.
Daily, and you need to face that. Like, you need to speak truth. You need to be like, thank you, Father, for my family. Thank you, Father, that my identity is not wrapped up in my family, that I am your child, God. And I thank you that right now, like, I have this amazing opportunity to love my wife, love my son, and I'm going to pour into them, but I'm not going to, and I will protect my family, but it's not, but like ultimately, like, we are all like, we're surrendered to Christ. We're following him. We're his sheep. We're going to let him guide. We're going to let him protect. And
even as the leader, like, you have to let go of that desire to like kind of I mean, and you've done amazing at this. Like, I'm just saying, like, I can imagine as a leader, you kind of have to let go of that. Like, I want to bubble wrap my family and make sure everybody's okay all the time, and they never encounter anything dangerous or, like, I just want to make sure they're perfectly safe at all times.
If you're doing that as a father or as a husband, you're not protecting your family. You're controlling your family. Like you need, because you cannot cover all the bases. Like, certainly maybe there's a certain level of just wisdom or whatnot.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, you need to be, if you're setting aside like the all-powerful God, your Father, who protects you and keeps you and has 10,000 angels at the tip of a spear, that a single one of those angels could, take out an entire city practically. Like if you're not trusting him, like, that is the epitome of not being wise. Like, you can talk all you want about wisdom and discernment and blah blah blah, and I wisdom dwell with prudence and like and all this stuff. Is like, yes, but he is the epitome of wisdom. Like, he is the epitome of, like, trusting him is the epitome of wisdom. And if you're not trusting him, then throw all your wisdom out. Like, that's not going to get you anywhere. But
yeah,
that's how I feel about that.
If anyone would like to hire him to pastor your church, he's available. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not available.
You're not available. He's not available. Just kidding. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like, well, I know that fear has been my biggest battle since I became a believer. And I didn't even realize it until I walked away from everything I knew. And then I realized that fear is huge. And fear is, I feel like fear is like the devil's main tactic. Is like, if you can get them to fear, you can cripple them, and then you can just throw everything at them. You can just pound them with stuff if you can get them to fear first. And so I heard somebody say,
there's a real quick little insert here. I was watching something a long time ago in a darker time in my life that was not made by Christians or anything, and I don't really remember much of it, thank God, anymore. But I remember there was something about like demons or something, and one of the things they said was like, oh well, the demons get fed off of the fear of people or something like that. And I think it's interesting because there's a lot of things that God, like, since I found God and since I've been like washed clean and I'm a new person, there's so much of the past that God's just let me forget. And it's just a mercy and a grace. But there's certain things that he hasn't let me forget, and I think that's interesting. And one of those things has been that the fact that it's like, even though, like, but I guess because even because whatever the show or whatever it was that I was watching was probably inspired by demons, but like, or the enemy, ultimately. But I just thought that was interesting. There's the fact that he feeds off your fear.
He does,
and you need to know that, like that. Anyway, go on.
You kind of invite him in when you decide to fear. I mean, I feel like you choose to fear as a believer. You choose to fear, just like anyway. But so I was told or read or something that you should ask God to turn your biggest weakness into your biggest strength, because he can do that. And so I started just asking God, okay, my biggest weakness is this fear thing. So can you just turn it into my biggest strength of being fearless? And he's doing it. Like, he's just totally doing it, because like, I can't believe I walk around these neighborhoods with my baby. Like, I can't believe that. And we have never had a bad encounter. Never. I mean, yes, I said, like, we smell weed all the time, and there's a bad music.
Honestly,
and there's,
we are probably weak sauce, and some people out there probably live in way worse neighborhoods. We just
haven't grown up in these kinds of neighborhoods.
Grow up in this kind of neighborhood.
Yeah, and nobody we know lives in these kinds of neighborhoods. So it's like, it's just different. But people are always like, yes, send me to the mission field where I will sleep among lions, and I will eat only rice, and I will, be brave and bold for Jesus. And it's like, buddy, go out into the the darker part of your city, the more what's the word?
Ghetto.
The more ghetto part of your
Maybe.
city, and just be there for a while. And I hear the baby.
There was a singular sound.
There was a
so
singular
we shall
sound.
see, but that is normally
But
an indicator.
yeah. But anyway, I just all that to say, your mission field is right where you live, and until you can be a faithful missionary there, I don't think you have any business going somewhere else. Is that crazy to say? Like,
No.
until you can be,
No.
like, yeah. So I'm just grateful. This is not a pride thing. I'm just grateful to God for changing and molding and shaping like he promises to do. And when we open up and let him do that, like he will. And you can just be brazenly bold and confident in that you're protected, you're taken care of. When you're at the place where God has led you to, there's nothing to be afraid of and everything to be expectant of.
Which has taken us basically all the way back to the start of the episode that kind of failed. Aside from the birth story itself, which I think we'll save for another episode. So basically where we started our last recording, we were talking about community.
How long have we been talking?
51 minutes.
What?
Yeah, we've almost got another hour. Crazy.
Bless our son.
I know, he's sleeping so well. So how we started the last recording was talking about community and how we've been very thankful about the church community that really reached out to us during the whole birth process and with bringing meals and all kinds of things. And we've kind of been on a journey of looking for church because both of us saw a lot of hypocrisy and a lot of what church shouldn't be growing up, and that kind of made us kind of retreat, so to speak. Partly good because we're retreating to like that quiet personal place with God and growing.
It was never a retreat away from God. Yeah. It was just
kind of pulling
like
back
from church. Yeah.
But now being like God's been really teaching us about how like, hey, like I work through people. You know, I work through people even who don't have everything figured out. And we've really been blessed by people that we didn't expect. And I don't just mean like monetarily or things, just even through encouragement or through just guidance or whatever. And so it's been, I think, both humbling and also kind of eye-opening to like how God operates with his church. And so recently we've been getting more involved or kind of stepping into a local church that and that's kind of new for especially for me because I haven't really had a pastor that really has been like my pastor growing up. And I mean, neither of us really did. Even when we were planning our wedding, we were just like,
we didn't know who we were going to get to marry us.
Right. Like, we
didn't have a pastor to marry us.
So.
But then we found the perfect one. Hopefully he watches this.
Hopefully so. Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yes. We
love him.
We're very thankful. Yeah. He did such a good job.
Such a good job. Because like our wedding was so not normal. And he just like rolled with everything. Completely. And even added to it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome.
But I've really appreciated that. So once we kind of were like, okay, I think this is where God's leading with church. And then I fairly soon in there, like I met the pastor and was like, hey, I have not had good experiences with pastors in the past. Like I haven't had a personal pastor. Like I would love to, meet with you, have breakfast, like.
Keep telling them. I'll bring him down here for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So they can meet it.
Okay. Yeah, probably go. Yep. Watch feet. There's just like wires and stuff like all over the place, man. They'll be able to hear you. So. I'm gonna bring the little baby monitor over here next to me. So, yeah, everything's still going, right? Yep, we're still rolling. So, So that was kind of a whole journey too, because like as like husband and learning, and then soon to be father, and all of that, learning to like, it's like God is the leader, but I have kind of responsibility to make a decision as well, but like listening to him, and I don't know, just that leadership role in the family. And so, big decisions like what church are you going to be involved in, that kind of thing. Like, it's a big decision. And sorry, I'm just majorly distracted right now because baby's coming. And that's how you know that I am bad. Aww. Navigate through the jungle. Watch your foot and your hair and basically everything. Ah!
Hello, everyone. Hi. What do you think of this, huh? What do you think? Say hi, everybody. I am Little Podcast Junior. And I have nothing to say right now except some cute little noises. And maybe some cries because I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I'm hungry. And bobbly. Anyway.
Well, I forget what I was talking about. Aw.
It's okay.
So, basically, I kind of reached out to the pastor, and then he was like going to Africa or something, and then there was like stuff going on, so he wasn't immediately able to connect and things. And part of me was a little bit like, maybe this is just like, a lot of other pastors I've met that are just kind of, I don't know, I just haven't had good experiences. And but he has really reached out, and the community of the church has really reached out to both of us, and we've just been really thankful. And like, there's just a lot of things where just like, wow, like this just kind of seems like it's supposed to be like this way.
We've just realized like our need for community.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful for it, especially in this season.
Yeah. And it feels like.
Something? Do you like to say something?
He would like to taste the texture.
You would like to breathe into it. Yes. You would like to breathe into it.
Oh, his little dinosaur onesie. We have a lot of dinosaur onesies because we just think they're so cute. And lion onesies and stuff.
Hi. You're so cute.
So I don't know where I was going with all that, but we have been very thankful, and we do not believe in church hunting. We talked about that in the other failed recording, but basically, like, we believe that wherever God leads you, that's where you should be with that church, and not just like, this one doesn't feel right to me, so I didn't feel love, so I'm gonna go to a different church, and like, but at the same time, we believe that, if you are in a church that is kind of dead, that you do need to find at least a handful of people who can come together and stir one another in love and good works, just like the community and church is meant to be. And I feel like we found both. I feel like we found a church community who has been very encouraging and has loved on us. And so we're very thankful because we both almost didn't expect that, so to speak, because we've gotten so used to seeing not that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we also have a handful of people who we really enjoy talking with, and
which you need.
So we've just really been thankful because we don't have family nearby us at the moment.
It's okay.
And so just kind of where things are, but
don't mind my baby talk, guys. Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, should we say bye to them?
Yeah, I think we're gonna end it there, and we will come back at you in the future with another episode. But really hope you guys enjoyed. And currently we oh my goodness.
He's okay.
Currently, we are still not on Apple Podcasts because we found out we need to pay like $20 or something. It's like a subscription thing. I'll have to figure it out. We are on Spotify and we are on YouTube still. So we're figuring out some of those things. But thank you for joining us. And this has been the InterCellar POD. Thanks for joining us in our cellar. And remember, there isn't a shadow too deep nor stronghold too great that his light cannot find you, and he will bear you up on eagle's wings if you only trust in him. All right. We're heading out.
Bye, guys.